So, upgrade here on the basement. I'm now 6 months in. I'm figuring total cost to date is probably around 2,000 that I've put out in materials. And that includes electrical, wire, even stupid things like the little vents that I put in, all these lights that were, I think, $17 a piece for these recessed lights. And it's moving along quicker now that I got all the walls up and the drywall, and this different stages or different parts of the wall are in different stages of plaster and tape. This wall was just put up and taped. It needs to be sanded down and then more mud put on top, more compound. But the recesses are working out good. It looks really clean over here. When the speakers are in, and we got a stink bug. We got there's no power behind. These are just pass-throughs. I draw my power from another circuit. So what I did was this circuit that I came down with through that hole, because my box is in my basement, is a 20 amp line, and it starts here with this outlet. And these are all 20 amp outlets. They have the little side thingies to them. I didn't want to do 15. I'd rather do, if you're going to do it, do 20. What the heck, you know? So we have so far, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I put one on the other side of the wall, so that's 8. Then there's one up here to run the LED lights, which I put 9, 10, 11, and there's going to be one more that I have to go through this wall over here and get behind it. There's a studded wall behind it, run down, and this will be the last one right here. And this is where there's going to be like a theater seating for the TV that's going to go on that wall. And 12 is pushing it, but I knew that I was only going to be using maybe 2 or 3 of these outlets, and I figured why not just put them in, because it's a real pain to put them in afterwards. And if for some reason I do have something heavy draw down here, I mean, it's a basement, I can come behind the wall, all the wiring's exposed, so if I need to break off circuits, I can. It's not a big deal. And that's the one good thing about, you know, doing the basement like this, is generally you have areas like this where, you know, of course I got my kayak spot over there, but you have, you know, the opportunity to get to behind the walls. You know, not in all cases. Some people want to finish their basement off and be like, just like it is upstairs. That wasn't my philosophy. I did not want this to be another living room. I wanted this to be a really nice looking rec room that if somebody spilled something on the floor or the wall got hit, and you know, I'm not going to sweat it. It's not a big deal. There's plenty of openings up top for air to move and with it bugs or whatever. So it's not like a pristine environment down here, but it's someplace to come hang out on a Saturday night, watch TV, shoot some pool. I think it's going to be really nice. I found also that using the kerosene heater, now that I have the walls up, man, it heats this space up quick. I would say within a half an hour now, I can bring it up 2 or 3 degrees. And usually it doesn't get any colder than, well, right now it's 65. But usually it's around like 66, 67 down here. And it's funny because I added vents into the ductwork here, and you can see there's one there. There's only 2. There's one there, and there's one down here. And I just leave them open. I don't even close them. What happens is if it's a warmer day outside, it's colder down here because the heating system's not running as much. When it's colder outside, it's actually warmer down here for a base starting. Like now you see it's a warmer day, it's 66 down here. If it was a colder day and the heat was running more, it'd probably be 67 or 68 down here. So that was an interesting thing I learned. Still going to do the couch is going to be on a pedestal, and the way I think I'm going to roll with it is just use concrete blocks. And I got so many of these. I mean, they're $1 a piece at anywhere. They're cheap, maybe $1.50. I'm going to set the platform up and use the concrete blocks to support it. Then I'm going to go get like 3/4 ply, put it on top. I'm going to make things that work, like little pieces of metal with 2 holes in them, so that I can connect all the seams together. And then what's going to be left is just however high it is off of the ground here, I'm going to have to make like a kick plate out of wood or 2x10s or whatever, just to hide everything and seal it all in. And that way, it'll be removable. If for some reason we decide to rearrange the room and we don't like the couch there, I can take the whole platform down. It's not all nailed, screwed, and dedicated there that I can never move it. So that was a neighbor's idea, and I thought, man, I'm running with that. That was a great idea. I really like that. So, but this is the progression. Like I said, 6 months in. It seems like it's really going slow because I'm doing it all by myself. You know, once in a while I can get my son down here to help me hold a board up, you know, when I need to. But for the most part, everything is me. And the mudding is really slowing me down because I'm not good at taping, and well, taping's easy. I'm not good at finishing it up. And I did have a neighbor tell me a trick, and one was to just take a light and lay it on here, and you get a really good view of if there's any holes or ridges where, you know, you need to sand down a little more that you're going to see through the paint. Now this I just redid, so this is all got to be resanded again. But for the most part, like this wall is pretty close to being ready for paint. And maybe a little bit on the edges I'll have to go here, and brush off, but it's pretty close. And that's what's taken me the most. And I've learned that when taping, it's better to water down the mud a little bit. If you can get a thick layer on or put the tape on, like I just did this today. You put the mud on pretty thick, you know, not ridiculously thick. Get the tape on there, push it. And then with, you know, your mud being a little bit wetter, adding a little bit of water and mixing it up, go right over it. Make sure it sits on there for a minute, gets nice and wet, and then take it all back off. And I haven't had too many issues with air bubbles or bad spots doing that way. When I first started and I wasn't watering down the mud to put the tape on, I had spots I had to cut out because I would get air bubbles. Like this wall was my first wall, and there was a lot of spots where I just had to come in with a razor knife and like cut a section out and redo it because there was a giant bubble under it. So, but I got to do the corner wraps, and man, I haven't done that for 10, 15 years. So I think I'm going to go with metal, and hopefully that's not going to be too difficult. But the good thing about the mud is, even if you suck at it, that just means you're going to do a little more sanding. Just like this coat right here, these walls were so out of, because some of them were tapered edges, some of them were, you know, the thick edge, and there was, you know, differences in between the two boards. So I really had to go wide with the plaster. But, you know, you take your time. You might have to do it 3, maybe even 4 times to get it right, but you can get it there, even if you're a novice. You know, if you mess it up, you sand it down, you put some more mud on it. You know, of course, yeah, it might cost you a little more in mud, but I've also found that this is the all-purpose mud. And there was another compound that I used. I'll show it to you. It was like a low dust, and it had a 3 on it, a +3. I'm using it for a trash can now. That was better. The bucket's a little bit smaller, but that was better mud. It was easier to work with. So the next bucket I get, I'm getting that +3 again. But it's coming along. You know, even not having a TV down here, it sounds so good down here with the speakers on Saturday nights. The family just kind of migrates down here, and we listen to music and play pool. It's pretty nice. And it happens with the kerosene heater that it's often warmer down here than it is upstairs. So, you know, people come down here with a sweatshirt on and they're like, oh my gosh, it's really warm down here. But got to bring the drywall probably next weekend. I'll work my way down here. I got to run off of this outlet and get this line through the wall before I cover any more up with drywall this end. But, and then this wall should be easy because I'm just screwing right to the particle board with drywall. That'll go nice and fast. And like I said, there's only going to be one outlet that I got to worry about. So it's still, and it's not like I planned this whole thing out before I started. I mean, I kind of had an idea where the walls, this part over here, I still don't know exactly how this is all going to play out, but this will be last. And you know, the more time I spend down here, the more ideas I get of what I want to do, how I want to do it. Do I want a closet here? Do we want a bar there or something? Who knows, you know, whatever. I don't plan on doing any wooder down here because in the area that I live in, you know, I didn't want to get wrapped up with the plumbing. I had a neighbor who was a plumber and added a basement bathroom and got the permits. I mean, he's a plumber. He did it all correct. He just sold his house a month ago, and the township made him add another septic field because he had done that work, which does not make any sense. If they give you the permits to do the work, how can they come at you later when you sell the house and go, oh, you know, guess what? You got to add another septic field. So he had to dig up his whole front yard and have, you know, I don't know how much he spent, you know, before he could sell his house. And I said, you know what, for what it's worth, I have no need really for a bathroom down here. I mean, if you can't walk up the steps of the bathroom in my eyes, then you shouldn't be hanging out. You know, in another 10, 15, 20 years, you know, we'll be selling a house. I'm hoping that this adds, that I get, you know, way more than what I put into this, having this room down here, because it's a rancher house that we live in, and it's 2,600 square feet, our ranchers. So the basement's 26 too, because it's the exact same footprint as the house. And this is a big room, and it's got lots of possibilities for, you know, a lot of directions you could go to this. If you wanted to make it a game room totally, or you wanted to have a little bar area, or even another couch and TV area, it could all be done. So, but like I said, dude, we're 6 months in here at this point, and I'm really liking how the pool, recessed pool thing came out. I didn't know how that was going to go, but I really like the way that came out. And I got, there's going to be molding that's going to come over, and it's going to hang over probably at least another inch past this to kind of hide the lights, so you won't see the lights, you'll just see the glow from the lights. And the boxes I had to put around the window, you know, just some OSB just to box that section out. And I don't know if I'm going to paint it the same color as the walls, paint it black, you know, it's kind of just, it's up in the air at this point. But not a hard project, and like I said, I'm hoping to get a good return on this investment, not to mention the time that, you know, the family and friends will hang out down here and make memories, have some good times. So 6 months, yeah, it's taken a while, and it's probably going to take me another 6 to get it to the point where, you know, there's a floor down and the walls are painted, and you know, everything looks clean and not cluttered and in a construction process. But it'll get there, and I'm not in any rush, you know. And it's nice that in the summer it's going to be nice and cool down here, so I'll be able to come down here and work and not, you know, be sweating to death down here. So, you know, it's not bad, but this is what it is so far.